Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today's gonna be a long video. I can sense it. It's rare I'm in a chatty mood, but I'm in a chatty mood today. So I have a book haul of a bunch of books. I can't lift them all. There are others these. But before that, I want to have a bit of a discussion about book of the month. So if you're just here for the book haul, you can just click forward to when I start holding up books. But the reason I wanted to talk about book of the month at the beginning of this video is because if you look back, I don't post a lot of book hauls in general. I think I normally have once every like 3 or 4 months, but it's been about, I looked, and I think 6 months, unless I missed one, since I posted a book haul. For the past few years, I've been a book of the month affiliate, which I'm very thankful for. I had an affiliate code with them, which would give you guys a discount, and I would get a tiny percentage of the profit if you guys use that link. And overall, I was and still am a big fan of book of the month. But as you'll see in today's book haul, I'm not gonna have any in my book haul today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why that is. Recently, book of the month changed their policy, and I will say first, as I'm talking about this, them changing their policy is not at all why I'm no longer a book of the month affiliate. Them changing their policy just paused me to think a little bit more about being affiliate and why I decided to no longer be, at least for the time being. So in the past, like I said, I would receive 5 books a month. I would keep some of them and read them. I would donate the ones I wasn't as interested in to family, friends, or local bookshops. And recently, and maybe people were talking about this on Twitter, and I wouldn't be aware because I'm never aware of what people in general are talking about on Twitter, but they changed their policy so that from now on, if you're affiliate, I think it's you would receive 1 book and you choose it just kind of like any other book of the month, member. And I think that if people didn't use your link to buy books that month, then you'd be charged for the book. And overall, I think personally this is a really good change because you're receiving 1 book of the month just like the people are who would be signing up based off of your link. It's also just a lot less waste, and I don't need 5 new shiny books a month. It's a lot. And so I overall was actually really happy with the change. But the way it worked was you would reapply, and I went a few weeks and I didn't reapply, and then I started really thinking about whether or not I actually wanted to. Now, there are a lot of things about book of the month that I really love. I love that it's diverse authors. I love that it's a lot of newer authors I might not have heard of. I think it exposes people to books and genres and authors that maybe they wouldn't have happened to have reached out and picked up on their own. But, and this is the one big but, and this is again just me personally, nothing to do with book of the month in general. I've noticed over the past few years that I've been buying a lot less books. I've been kind of passively receiving book of the month books, and occasionally every now and then going out and purchasing maybe like 1 book a month, because in general I also don't read tons, so it's not like I would even be able to read all 5 of the book of the month books every month anyway. And I think because of this, and again this is just my personality type, I've not been buying that many books. Even if, say, once a year I film a 2019 books I'm looking forward to and I do a little bit of research, I was never really, and I was actively thinking about this, it's only looking back on it, I was never really going out and picking up a lot of those books. I was just thinking about doing it without actually doing it. I also in general just have pretty particular reading tastes. I think you guys know that. And so I haven't been going out and discovering authors that I love on my own lately as much as I did, say, maybe 5 years back. And again, I'm not being an affiliate because I don't believe in book of the month or because I was worried about getting charged because, people did use my link. That's not a worry that I would have. I just personally think I need a little bit of a break. I need to be in a headspace where any book I receive, it's because I've actively wanted to go out and purchase and pick up that book myself. And who knows, maybe like 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road, they might reach out again and maybe I'll consider it again because again, I'm really happy with the policy updates. I think it's a good thing. But I did just want to talk a little bit about that. But again, I'm curious, what do you guys think about the changes? What do you think about book of the month in general? If you're a book reviewer, do you feel that way? I recognize it's a very first world problem that, I'm receiving so many free books that I'm not actively engaging in the community and going out and getting my own. I'm very aware it's like a privileged problem to have had. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think, and let's get into the book haul. First is one, and I just picked this up at my local bookshop for a few dollars, which I was very happy to find, and that is The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This takes place in 1896 New York. There's a serial killer. They used to use the term alienist for psychologists back in the day, so think of this as the psychiatrist or the psychologist. This is March's Year of Horror book club pick. I'll have the Year of Horror book club linked down below, the Discord group if you want to join, as always. I did attempt to get into the TV show and I was so excited for it. Everything about it seemed right up my alley, and I personally could not get into it for whatever reason. So let me know if you've read The Alienist or if you've watched the TV show or both. Did you like either? Did you like the book more than the show? I would hope so, since I didn't love the show. But this is a pretty heavy book. I love that used old book smell. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about this, so can't wait. Next is a book by Ottessa Moshfegh, and if you guys remember, maybe, what was it, 3-4 years back, one of my favorite books of all time is Eileen, which is a very, very bizarre, dark character study. The cover of the book will make you think it's a thriller, and it's really not. It's just a very messed up view into a strange person's mind who's very dirty in multiple senses of the word. But I saw Ariel Bissett talk a lot about My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and the plot of this, I had seen this, you know, all over. It's a pretty popular book, but the plot didn't interest me a huge amount. But then I saw Ariel loved it and I thought, you know what, I loved Eileen so much, I should really pick this up. This is about a young woman, I think she's about my age. She's living in New York City. She has a pretty privileged life, and she decides to take a year off from work and just kind of medicate herself to the point that she can sleep all the time and have a year of rest and relaxation. But please let me know if you've read Eileen. What did you think about the two? Adore this cover. I'm very obsessed. Then we have, and this one is very heavy, we have, and this is a beautiful hardback. This was $9.95 at my local bookshop, and this is 1Q84, which embarrassingly, when I went and picked this up for years, I mean, this book hasn't been out for an incredibly long time. I always thought this was IQ84, and it wasn't until I Googled it that I realized it's 1Q84. This is by Haruki Murakami, and I adored Norwegian Wood back in the day. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and this is huge. That's why it's so heavy, but this is one of his newer releases. And what is this about? I always write down the plot. So this takes place in 1984 in Tokyo from two perspectives, a man and a woman, who I assume their stories converge. The woman is sitting in a taxi and she starts to notice that things seem off and that she might be in some kind of alternate reality. I think this is a very hard book to summarize, I think, if you haven't read it, maybe even if you have. And then the man is a ghostwriter of, you know, I don't know if the author he's working with is very strange or the story is very strange or both, but again, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. It's almost 1,000 pages, I think, but I'm really curious, have any of you read this? It's broken up into different sections. I think you can even buy these as separate books, but I just bought it all combined, but really, really excited about this. Then is the one book that I was sent on this list, which was very kindly sent by the, I don't know if, I think it was the publishing company, I'm not sure. But in my 2020 books I'm looking forward to, I mentioned that I was really looking forward to picking up Fly Away by Kathleen Jennings, and they very kindly happened I think from the team, someone happened to see my video and asked if they could send this to me, which was very nice of them. And this is another one where, even though I've read some about it online, I have trouble figuring out exactly what it's about, but it takes place in Australia in a small Western Queensland town, and what I keep hearing people say is that it's very gothic and it deals a lot with Australian folklore, or actually I heard someone refer to this as folk horror, which is just everything I want in a book. And someone also said it's like if Australia, folklore, and Shirley Jackson all had a baby in one. So this is just everything I want in a book. But in terms of the actual plot, it has something to do with a sister and one or two of her brothers have gone missing, and she gets a letter in the mail about one of them, and I assume she's going out to find them, but it's supposed to be very kind of fantastical and strange and dark, which is, again, everything I want in a book, so can't wait. This next book, I feel like I mentioned before, maybe in a past book haul, I hope not, but this is the problem with when you do book hauls so seldom. I can't remember which ones I've talked about. But next is Desperate Characters by Paula Fox. And if that maybe sounds familiar, but you haven't actually picked up the book or heard someone talk about it, maybe it sounds familiar because you were also a massive fan of You by Carolyn Kepnes, and this is a book that Joe recommends to Beck in the book, or maybe that Beck goes to the bookstore to buy. Either way, can't remember. You know, even though I'm not as obsessed with You as I used to be back in the day, I saw a video where a guy read, I think, every book Joe recommended in You, which I'm by no means, you know, doing anything of that sort, but I've just always, this book has been in the back of my mind ever since reading that, and I wanted to pick it up, and I managed to find a copy. But this is about a well-off couple who, the wife, or I don't know if they're married or not, she comes across a stray cat that scratches her. That's why you can see the silhouette of the cat on the cover. After that, a series of horrific events start to occur to this couple. Again, pretty quick read, like Fly Away. And again, just I've had it in the back of my mind forever, so I thought I should finally pick it up and read it. The next 3 books are actually all on the older side, so by no means are any of these new releases if that's what you're into. But then we have Haunted Castles, The Complete Gothic Stories by Ray Russell, and I was very, very kindly gifted this book by Roya from RG's Devil Ship. I met up with her when we were in Dublin, and she very kindly pulled this out of her bag and gave it to me because she thought I would like it, and she was spot on, because even just reading the little foreword at the beginning, I am hooked. It has a foreword by Guillermo del Toro. It has a foreword from Guillermo del Toro, and I am just so excited. This was published in 1959, and it's, as you would guess, a series of very gothic, very creepy stories, so can't wait to get into this one. Then, this is not the type of book I feel like I normally talk about on my channel, but we have Play As It Lays by Joan Didion. Again, I picked this up at my favorite local bookshop. Our protagonist in this is Maria, and she's feeling very lost in life. I think she's maybe a former actress or model, and it takes place in, I believe, Hollywood or Las Vegas in the 1960s, and it's supposed to be a very interesting portrait of America. I have to admit, I saw this for like, I think $5-6 at the bookstore, and I always hear people talk about Joan Didion, but I've never read anything by her. As an aside, does anyone feel as if when you're watching celebrity interviews, like those what's in my bag video, or just where they're asking them random questions, so many of them say that their favorite author is Joan Didion, to the point where I'm like, are you just saying that so you can say your favorite author is Joan Didion? I'm not sure. But anyway, I just thought it was about time that I finally read something by her. I do have another physical book to talk about, but I completely forgot at the beginning of this video to mention that I do have, as an audiobook that I purchased, The Shining by Stephen King, and I am finally listening to that. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, but please let me know what type of video you want me to film about The Shining. It will probably be my next video, I think, but I'm thinking about doing some sort of comparison between the movie and the book, talking a little bit about how Stephen King, from what I've heard, don't know if this is true, I'll do some research if you guys want to hear me talk about this. From what I've heard, he despised the movie version, so I could talk a little bit about that and which I preferred and all that stuff. But anyway, that I picked up recently. And the final physical book, again, this is the one I picked up from a used bookshop, is 7 Gothic Tales by Isaac. Well, it doesn't matter what it says there, because the real author's name is Karen Blixen, who wrote Out of Africa, if you've heard of that. This was published back in 1934, and much like, you can see a bit of a theme here, I am just really interested in reading older novels, gothic, you know, short stories. Everything about this just sounds right up my alley, and I've skimmed through it a little bit, and the writing seems beautiful. Please let me know if you've read anything by her before, but I really want my 2020 theme to just be gothic. So those are all of the books I'm looking forward to reading that I picked up recently. I definitely want to go out and purchase some more that I talked about in my anticipated 2020 reads, but this pile has been building up, so I just wanted to first get this out there. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please let me know which out of these you want to see reviews on. Let me know your thoughts on Book of the Month. I'm very curious, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.